They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Air, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dead Air, a horror podcast. If you don't know about this podcast yet, please subscribe here or wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're listening on. And you can also join. We have two Facebook groups that you can join. One group called Dead Air, a horror podcast. That's a page. So you can join the group. And when you join the group, you're going to see a lot of like-minded people who love horror sharing their favorite horror shows or their favorite horror movies, so you can discuss as much as you want on the horror group. Also, you can add us on Instagram at Dead Air Pod. If you have any questions or any concerns, you can message that account and let us know if you want to hear anything in particular. So also in the description of this episode, use the affiliate links. Just click on that and do your shopping, and that will help keep this podcast afloat. So I'd like to introduce our hosts. But first of all, guys, we haven't seen each other in so long. We haven't talked in so long. I kind of want to ask you how you are. So first I'll introduce myself. So my name is Erin, and I'm the horror fan, meaning I like horror movies because they give me a thrill, but dissecting them isn't my favorite part, unlike my two other friends. Please introduce yourselves, guys.
Okay, I'm Miguel. I'm the other host. In the beginning, I was really afraid of horror. Like, I dreaded watching horror movies. But now I've gotten the hang of it, and it's been fun.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'm Chris. I'm the last host. Yung thing ko is I'm the biggest horror fans out of the three of us. Yung common misconception is I like dissecting horror. It's more like I just really, really enjoy it. That's it. That's it. Yun lang yun.
Defensive.
Super defensive today.
Okay. But how are you guys? We haven't talked in a really long time. I just kind of want to know, how has everyone been doing? What did you guys do anything interesting over the weekend?
Man, it's kind of scary to think that when this episode comes out, we might have the results. Oh my God!
Stress.
Oh God. Okay.
Well, to answer Aaron's question, parang medyo nagsimula na ang work eh. Parang this thing that we began in the pandemic is now at the tail end of it, I hope. Sana parang going by metrics like traffic or email or meetings na hindi pa naman face-to-face, parang we're approaching our exit of the pandemic, I hope. So it's been stressful for me, like balancing work and shit. And then this week is odd. I'm gonna date the date we're recording this because I'm flying out tomorrow for my brother's wedding sa Palawan, and then last weekend kakapasig for Lenny lang. So it was and then a few days before that, na down ako because of my fucking tooth, and then so it's been an interesting 8, 7, 9 days.
Okay. Yeah, how about you, Chris? What's been up with you?
Same thing. I don't know. Did I say last time I got COVID last time?
Huh?
Oh, I did.
Nakwento mo sa akin, pero
Yeah. So I did.
Hindi mo na-announce. Hindi mo na-announce.
After 2 years of fucking hiding.
Pero hindi ko alam nyo kasi.
After 2 years of fucking hiding, yung whole family ko got COVID, and that was not fun at all.
And it was here in Manila, no, Chris, nung pagbalik nyo from CDO. Okay.
Yep. So sobrang wild siya kasi like I'm part of yung condo viber namin, and then like every day they report COVID cases sa condo and then you see it rising and rising, and then you're like, fuck, eventually this is gonna get to me and then it got to 86 people in the condo. 86
halos lahat.
And then I was 87.
Oh shit. I'm glad you're here.
But so not fun. Pero the good thing about that was, if there ever was a good thing about it, because apparently you get a very short period of immunity, and that gave me the balls to go out and watch movies in theater for the first time in 2 years.
Nagsine.
Nagsine ako. So that was great. Yun. And then, so super weird now hearing Aaron say that, Miguel say that we started this in the pandemic, and just last weekend we were surrounded by 167,000 people.
And you were like right there, like parang daming tao.
Exactly.
Yan. A lot has changed. How
What
about
have
you,
you
Aaron?
been? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So this I'm excited to share with you guys. I took a metal smithing class
Ooh.
last week.
Whoa!
So I made my own ring. Tapos sabi ko sa teacher ko, is there any way that I can be part of the process if I have you repurpose my engagement ring?
Wow.
Yeah, why not? So I'm gonna repurpose that shit. I'm gonna make it some earrings. I'm gonna make it a necklace.
Oh, shit.
That's mine now.
Yep.
I love it. I
That's
love
awesome.
it.
Right?
Si Derek.
Ayan. So, now we've caught up. I'd like to introduce our guest for this evening. So, very excited to have this guest. He is known as a writer, producer, and director of The Woman in Unit 23B, If Rain Were Made Out of Chocolate, and Sleepless. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Direct Prime Cruz. Hello, Direct.
So,
Yo.
Yay.
Direk, thanks for listening to us catch up for like 10
Yes.
minutes.
Sorry.
Hindi, kasi kasama kayo direct. So ngayon, kami naman magtatanong sa inyo, what have you been up to in the past month? Kung gusto mong magkwento sa amin.
past month, nagka-COVID din ako.
Ay.
Congrats.
Here.
I think parang yun na yung news ngayon. Ang news ngayon is kung hindi ka nagka-COVID. Mas COVID, pero wala akong symptoms. So, asymptomatic. Tapos, work-wise, kakatapos ko lang gumawa ng 3 music video for yung isang band sa Warner. Last movie ko, 2021 pa.
So, sinihan, anong napanood nila?
No, Nahimade.
Oh, the Nahimade, sorry.
Ang last na napanood ko, Batman.
Wow. Pinag-usapan namin yan before the call, pero hindi ko pa napapanood. So, no.
Ako rin hindi ko pa napapanood.
May Batman connection to this episode, but
Wait, Direk, kamusta na yung mga shoots? Ano na ba? Parang hindi na remote? Parang on-set na kayo?
Last shoot ko remote pa rin eh. Pero I think yung mga ngayon, parang may mga
Lock-in.
na.
Face-to-face na. Na-lock in. Okay, good to know. Maski pa paano.
Are you excited for
okay ka lang,
face-to-face again?
Yeah, are you okay ka ba dyan?
Ako, parang mababa na rin naman nata yung cases. I think parang pretty much over na. Sana.
Sana nga.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
How did you know na magpapatest ka if you were
Nagka-
asymptomatic?
May project ka. Kasi pag
Oh,
kung
shit.
may project ka, parang kailangan mo magpa-test bago kayo mag-lock in. So, ayun,
Lumabas.
may project. Tapos ayun, positive.
Stress nga yan. Stress.
Well, buti na lang okay. Because parang alam ko, sa Philippines, wala na masyadong tao sa hospital. Pero did you hear about Singapore and Hong Kong and New Zealand? Yung mga best cities before? Lahat sila
What?
ngayon, yung mga tao,
Yeah.
nasa
Medyo puno
hospitals.
sila. Yeah.
Puno.
Punong-puno. And namamatay. Yung parang, yung case natin when Delta came, parang
Yeah.
ganun yung nangyari with the top 3, Singapore, Hong Kong, and New
Is that
Zealand.
the 6-month period of the vaccine wearing off? Yun ba yun?
Hindi ko nga alam eh.
Hindi ko
Because
na alam eh.
I think because they were so good at keeping it out, any small thing that came in, sobrang, di ba? Parang wala nang
it
adjustment
decimates them,
period yung germs.
Tayo sanay na sanay.
Oo eh. Wala silang pake dito eh. Parang okay. Spread. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. By the time this pod comes out, we would have known kung nag-third surge na or okay na at sino na presidente. Yeah.
Ooh, we'll see.
Sige.
So, Direk, thank you again for joining us here on Dead Air. So, we usually ask our guests before anything, what is your horror origin? So, pakikwento naman sa amin.
Horror origin. Siguro yung na lang, yung first parang encounter ko sa horror genre. Nung bata ako, napanood ko dati kasi sa TV, di ba, mismo may pinapalabas na mga movies. So, yung unang pinaka-horror movie na napanood ko, Shake, Rattle and Roll. Tapos yung episode, nag-stick siya talaga with me. Eventually, doon ko binase yung ang manananggal sa Unit 23B. Kasi napanood ko yung segment ng kay Herbert Bautista. Alam niyo yung image na yung sinisilipan niya yung girl tapos nagalagay yung girl ng oil. Tapos naglalagay siya ng oil, bigla siyang nag-split tapos siya
naging
manananggal. Tapos tumipan siya. Ganun. So doon nanggaling yung eventually nung ginawa ko yung manananggal sa Unit 23B. Doon nanggaling yung parang sexual undertone nun. Kasi pag pinanood mo yung Shake, Rattle, and Roll na yun, parang may something na umisilip siya, parang may ginagawa siyang mali. Tapos pag pinanood mo yung girl na nalagay niya yung oil sa katawan niya, very, very sensual yung almost sexual yung sa pagkakagawa. So, as a kid, na habang pinapanood ko yun, sobrang parang feeling ko may pinapanood din ako na hindi ko dapat napapanood.
Sino yung girl?
Wait, Google natin.
Google ko na.
Google mo na.
Ano yung manananggal ba or mamboboso?
Manananggal Manananggal. Ano pangalan ng girl na yun?
Medyo bagong it was one of the newer ones, I guess.
Yeah?
1984. 1984 siya.
Ayun. Actually, bago lang siya. Siguro Shake, Rattle, and Roll 2 or 3 to. Hindi pa natin napanood to, guys. Ano ba yung napanood natin?
3.
2 and 3.
Hindi, 1. Okay.
Tama ba?
Sige. Mamaya natin alamin.
Si Undin yung sa atin and Aswang yung kay Manilyn. That's the one.
Irma Alegre.
Wow. Tapos yun talaga yung nag-stick sa'yo.
Formative.
Formative niya.
Coming of age.
Coming of age. Love it.
Alright. So we asked you to choose a movie. Can you tell us the title of the movie that you chose and why you chose it?
Yan, tinanong ako ni Chris. Actually, nung tinanong niya ako, hindi ko alam kung meron akong enough street cred para mag-horror kasi hindi ako talaga super, I wouldn't consider myself a horror fan, a strict horror fan. Pero yung pinili kong movie is Let the Right One In.
Ganda.
Yung Swedish, yung Swedish version. Ganun. So tinanong ko nga si Chris kung counted ba yun as horror. Kasi parang...
100%, yeah.
Kasi parang may... ang na-enjoy ko actually sa kanya is yung yung drama and love story. Love story part. Pero horror siya eh. Pero, so ang ganda nung mix. Ang ganda nung parang mixing niya of genre. Actually, pag pinag-isipan ko, yung mga favorite horror films ko are kind of a mix na parang horror drama, like yung Babadook. Babadook, Relic. Parang ano sila eh. Parang
ganda na Relic.
Horror drama.
Yeah.
Parang horror drama.
Hindi lang siya, scare. Hindi lang siya
actually, parang ang gusto ko sa Let the Right One In is, binasa ko rin kasi yung short story kung saan siya based.
Yung short story.
Tapos, siya, parang ginagamit lang nila yung horror to tell a drama story. For me, yun yung interpretation ko sa kanya. Kasi dun sa short story, mas pronounced yung pedophiliac undertones. Kasi yung Let the Right One, sobrang siyang
actually dark. It's very dark, diba? Yung
ang dami
undertones
actually, ganito yung movie eh. Ang dami niyang pedophile images eh.
Yeah.
Siya. May mga references siya to that.
Well, you know what? Baka hindi pa alam ng mga listeners ngayon kung ano yung kwento ng Let the Right One In. So, we will have Miguel summarize and then direct, kailangan yung i-grade siya.
Wag na natin i-grade ko kasi I won't get it as detailed as I usually do. Kasi napanood ko to direct before tapos hindi ko siya napanood.
Hindi mo pinanood for this episode?
No, but I saw it. I loved it. First of all, I know it's Swedish. I'll talk now about this movie. It was remade by the Americans. I'll dive na into the summary. And then judge me lang, sige. Only God can judge me, guys.
Before, you know what, for next time, editor's note, I think we should come up with a musical stinger for this part of the parang game show to
Or a
introduce
running tally of how many I've actually seen.
just to
in time for
introduce
the-
yung segment ni Miguel.
While he's summarizing, they're just going,
Which ang
Okay,
dami
go.
na nating nalabas na podcast ngayon palumabas yung stinger na yun. Anyway, so it's about, I think, parang medyo ikukwento ko na rin why I love this movie. Medyo coming of age movie siya. Kasi the protagonists are two kids, Oscar and Ellie. They're Swedish kids. They're like pre-teens. They're like children. And then, parang si Oscar, nabubully siya sa school dahil maliit siya. Tapos parang Ellie, I think, is a neighbor and meron siyang matandang kasama. Si Oscar is a little boy. Si Ellie presents as a girl pero or parang ambiguous. And then later on, may mga revelation yan na it's really both disturbing and heartbreaking and etc. What I love about I'm gonna jump in a little. What I love about Let the Right One is parang it never tells you what's going on. Parang naintindihan mo lang na oh shit, vampire tong batang to. Parang ganyan. Parang they never talk about vampirism. Even the older man who accompanies Ellie, who is actually her familiar. Diba? Parang in the vampire tradition, siya pala yung familiar. I'm gonna look up the name of the older man.
Hakan.
Sorry.
Hakan, sorry.
Yeah. Hakan. So there are three main like Hakan, the older guy who is Ellie's familiar, and Oscar. So parang nagkaroon ng parang neighbor si Ellie tsaka si Oscar, and parang they bonded over Morse codes, and pareho silang outsider, obviously, like Ellie's a fucking vampire and Oscar is this kid that gets bullied in school. So they have this bond. And parang there's a scene there pa nga where parang nagkaaminan na sila, parang yan, and parang boyfriend-girlfriend. And then Ellie says, but I'm not a girl.
I'm not
parang
a girl.
Parang may line na ganon. And then parang that's given background. Parang it's hinted why, etc. So obviously she was turned into I don't know how they were turned. I think in modern times them sila. Parang non-binary. Galing nga eh. It was very ahead of its time. Parang maybe...
just to interrupt. So both of you got that immediately?
As I watched it, yeah, na ano siya. I think, shit, it's so disturbing.
It's trans.
Parang, ha?
Parang may close up of her private part.
Ellie is trans,
Close up.
Yeah. Well, wasn't he castrated yata?
Castrated, sorry.
Castrated.
So,
presenting
as a girl because naka-straight siya.
Yeah.
Parang ganun yun. So parang this was a former kid, now a vampire. That was obviously abused. Ganyan. Parang may ganung background si Ellie. So anyway, Ellie and they become each other's confidants and close. Parang couple talaga sila. Little teenage, like little young love. But si Oscar nga keeps getting bullied in school, and Ellie has this problem of having to get blood. Yun. So si Hakan, the familiar, is in charge of supplying her with blood. So there's murder involved. There's they have to hide bodies, and it becomes this complicated thing. And parang unti-unti nagkakaalaman in the small town where they live na something is amiss. There's a crime. Parang naging crime movie rin siya. Like parang there's a mystery ganyan, and how do we solve this crime? But what I remember is that towards the end, parang natrap si Oscar by the bullies in the swimming pool of the school. And then parang lulunurin siya ng mga bullies. Tapos ang gandang shot kasi parang while he was under the water, parang obviously dumating si Ellie, nagkagulo, may dugo.
Yeah.
So pag-angat ni Oscar, patay na yung mga bullies niya. So dun parang, yun lang yung eksena na in-unleash yung power ni Ellie. Parang sure, nagma-murder siya, like she'd bite into someone or draw blood. But her power as a vampire to kill and maim and have speed and be superhuman, dun lang in-imply pa. Kasi all you see are blood, splash. It's really artful movie.
Actually, what I really liked about that scene was while he was underwater, you see the head. Dun ako na, oh my God!
Yeah.
What?
Galing. And then cut to, I'm gonna spoil it, and the two kids are on a train and they're escaping. Ganun. Yun lang. I loved it. Weird that I love this
So
movie.
siya na yung new familiar.
Yes. Yun yung imply, tama.
New
What do you
Hakan.
think, Recty? What do you think of yung summary ni Miguel?
Pasado.
Galing, no? Parang napanood ko ulit.
Parang napanood ko lang recently. Pero buti nag-Wikipedia review ako.
Oh my God.
Ako
Okay,
yung
okay.
lang, one kulang lang, Miguel, is like si what's his name? The kid. Murderous din yung kid eh. He's got a lot of murderous thoughts, diba? Sabihin.
May
Anger
inclination to
siya.
violence.
May anger problems.
May rage.
May rage issues. Sure.
Actually, ang galing nga kasi you don't know who picks who eh. Does he get picked by Ellie to be the familiar? Does he pick Ellie to be his source of strength? Parang may
And protection.
and parang protector. Parang even the title is so saying let the right one in eh. Parang tama ba yung nagkapilian sila ganun. Anyway, sorry.
Let the right one in siya kasi sinunod nila yung yung
Swedish.
rule na kapag hindi mo pwedeng pumasok hanggat hindi siya invite in.
Yeah. Pero to, dinagdagan ng let the right to, meaning nagtagtugma talaga sila. Parang ganun. Galing. So that's what I mean. Parang, di ba all these vampire traditions, alam natin. Like, hindi sila papasok until na-imbita mo. Meron silang superhuman powers. And parang may familiar. Pero parang in this movie, parang alam mo lang, parang dapat naintindihan mo na yun.
Parang matter of fact lang siya.
Yeah, matter of fact.
Okay, vampire. Okay, ganun lang.
I forgot na in the middle, nagkahanapan pa yung mga, di ba, they killed a human being, they killed a homeless guy.
At the beginning.
And then parang one of the homeless people, I forget. Basta parang burst into flames pa in the hospital room, di ba? Parang,
Yung woman.
yun, nakinagat, Naging vampire din siya. Tapos, hindi nila alam. Tapos, parang in-expose siya to sunlight and then she died. Yun.
The deaths here are also very intense. Like that, yung familiar, the way she had to kill him, di ba?
Yeah.
Let me in. Tapos, the way he died, when he fell off and bounced off. The deaths are very gruesome. Sobrang gruesome.
Gruesome pero art.
Correct.
So,
art.
Yep, sorry, just suddenly coming back to me. Even si Hakan yata, the familiar, started as a child ba? Na tumanda na lang? Nakasama si Ellie.
That's yung reading ko.
Parang ganon.
But still, there's still the whole pedophile angle. So like,
sa short story.
Can you talk about that, Direk? Kasi wala akong alam dyan sa book.
Sige, parang bigyan mo kami ng background dun sa book.
Yung sa book, mas si Hakan, medyo outright na hindi pa rin siya directly kasi katulad nga nung sinasabi nyo kanina yung movie, parang parang underneath yung mga bagay, parang puro subtext. Pero sa book, mas obvious na si Hakan, pedophile.
Okay.
Like how?
Pedophile. Kaya I think yung arrangement niya with Ellie, parang sinubvert niya yung parang the pedophile having power over the victim na bata, diba? So, parang sa version siya nun, parang yung batang pedophile mo, actually, vampire.
Power over, okay.
Tsaka may magandang, sobrang like ko itong sinishare sa mga nakapanood. May mga maliliit na mga visual mindfucks dun sa film eh. Na nakailang rewatch na kasi ako sa kanya. Sobrang favorite ko talaga siya.
Yeah.
So, kaya ako lang nakita tong image na to. Panoorin niyo pag meron kayong copy kasi nag-CR ako, so pinos ko muna. Pagka-pause ko, tapos nag-CR ako, pagbalik ko, tsaka ako lang siya nakita. Alam niyo yung scene na si Oscar parang tinatry niyang mag-blood compact sila ni Ellie.
Yes.
Diba? Parang slice ng hand niya, tapos in-offer niya na, Ellie, ikaw din. Parang slice mo din yung hand mo. Ganun. Tapos, na-tempt si Ellie, nakita niya yung blood. Tapos, yung blood nag-drop sa floor. Tapos, bigla siyang nag-crouch. Tapos, dinilaan niya. Ang disturbing ng image, diba? Parang batang babae na naka-ganon. Tapos, habang nililik niya yung blood, pag tingnalaan niya na ganun, nag-change actor sila. Pinalitan nila yung actor na si Ellie. Merong isang 40-ish looking old man. 40-ish old man.
Holy fuck!
Pinalitan nila. Kasi doon ko lang siya nakita. Nakaganon. Tapos nakatingin siyang ganun kay Oscar. Tapos sabi niya, run. Tapos yung itsura niya, para siyang 40-something old man. Tapos isa pa ulit, ginawa nila yun. Yung nandun sila di ba pinapasok na ni Oscar si Ellie, naligo sila, naligo si Ellie, ganyan. Tapos may yung nag-kiss sila. Yung nag-kiss sila, parang sinasabi ni Ellie kay Oscar na why don't you, please try to be me even for just a little while. Tapos, nung magkikiss na sila na gano'n, may close-up shot, nag-change actor na naman.
Yun. Yan yung what I remember.
40% old. Naging lalaking medyo, na siya. So sobrang fucked up niya. Medyo, siya talaga. Kasi kung titingnan mo siya, di ba yung vampire, parang, mayroon sila, may compulsion siya eh. Yun yung that's why we're drawn to vampires, I think, kasi meron yung laging yung narrative nagse-center around a compulsion that you can't control. Like it's evil, it's bad, pero you can't help yourself, parang gano'n parang something na Freudian na mabibitawan mo yung what makes you human, babalik ka sa pag-ihayop, diba? Parang vampire. So pwede ang galing ng pagkakatali nila to yung pedophilia na what if it's something that you can't like help, kasi Ellie presents herself as a young girl. Pero actually matanda na siya. Yun ang vampire, diba? Matanda na siya eh. Hindi natin alam, ilang taon na siya, ganun. I'm not a girl, ganun. So ang kung pwedeng may reading sa Let the Right One In na a love story between a young boy and a pedophile. Pwede siya din na gano'n eh.
Wow, that's kind of dark.
And it's very Inception. Kasi diba, a love story between a kid and a pedophile, but presenting as a young person with a familiar that's older, looks like a pedophile. Parang it's so...
And now baliktad.
Diba?
Now she's the pedophile and then he's the kid.
Okay.
That's fucked up. Nabasa ko rin siya eh. I read a few of his books. But it's been a while din kasi. He's got
but wait, this is Swedish books?
Yeah. He well translated, of course. But he has another book na super astig called Little Star. And it's like a parang American Idol type thing, and then there's a young singer, pero she's got this like parang medyo murderous tendencies na ganun. So he's got this thing for like
kids.
It's the idea of children not being children. Alam mo yun?
Kind of disturbing why into that, but it gets the output is like this film.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe we need to know a little bit more about him. Baka lumaki siya na parang wala siyang childhood, di ba? What if ganun pala yun? We don't know.
Okay.
Diba?
He also wrote yung screenplay. He really insisted on writing the screenplay for this.
Maganda yung pagka niya, adapt niya.
Super. Border. Meaning, sorry.
Ay, yung sinasabi mo na screenplay? Or
for Let the Right One In.
For Let the Right One In.
Siya rin nagsulat nung the author of the short story. Siya rin nagsulat nung screenplay for the adaptation for the movie.
Yeah, the adaptation. Sorry. Parang a lot of people want to adapt the story, pero and then like the director finally got in touch with him. Apparently, this is all on Wikipedia, by the way, guys. So this is not like stock knowledge. So yung director just loved it so much because he was really attracted to yung bullying themes, not really even the vampirism. It was the bullying themes. And then parang nung nagtanong siya sa publisher, parang they said, dude, your number 48's a list of people who want to make the film. But he really found a way to contact yung author, si Lindquist.
Okay.
And then they medyo similar yung vision nila, and then they came up with this. Super, it's awesome.
Galing.
Ito. Thomas Alfredson was born in 1965. Blah 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 blah. Son of comedian writer. Blah blah blah. Thomas was used to being treated differently from an early age. A small number of people were public property, and he was one of them. Alfredson said of his father. His father was seldom home. Was mostly raised by his mother. Wala lang. I don't know why that was.
You're finding,
I'm finding ways.
You're finding the horror origin story.
Pero wala eh. So, let's talk about our favorite scenes from the movie.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
I really like that pool scene. I feel like they built the movie to build up to that scene. Because it was for me, it was the scene that really carried the entire movie because that was the one I remembered. All these kids dead. And you're worried about the protagonist pa kasi kuya ng bully yung nang aano, di ba? Like, he was an older kid. So, legit natakot ako. But Ellie got his back, yo! Got his back.
Ako, I don't think I have favorite scenes. Parang so many scenes stand out kasi for me, yung si Hakan pouring acid on his face. Like,
that was really,
it's not
can you
favorite,
explain
but like
that?
that is parang he won't be identified and it won't lead back to Ellie. Parang ganon.
So he sacrificed himself.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was so shocking. So not favorite scenes, but yung mga scenes that really stick out. Definitely yung pool scene, that scene, and then also see the girl bursting into flames. No, but I think at the heart of it really is yung love story between the two kids in quotation marks. No, yeah, that's really what yung first takeaway ko. Because like when I asked you guys earlier, so you guys knew immediately. Because my first viewing when I saw this way back in, I don't know, 2006, 8 or something.
Okay.
Hindi ko na gets na Ellie was
trans,
not a girl.
Trans kid.
It was the second viewing, and then I was like, oh fuck, okay.
Yeah.
And then my second viewing was so much better than my first because I was like, oh man, this movie is so much deeper than I thought it was. Your first time I watched it, I really watched it for your coming of age horror, because that's really my favorite genre, horror, pero subgenre coming of age.
Part of the bitch.
Exactly, exactly.
Prime question, how sobrang pareho ba yung storyline? Because you said there were more undertones na pedophile, may mas pedophile themes. Pero
yung
same.
Almost may mga parts na na-leave out sa movie. Mas expanded yung story ng girl na naging mas mahaba, mas may backstory siya. Yung girl na naging vampire. Hindi si Ellie, yung namatay nung binuksan niya yung hospital. Ayan, mas explore siya. Ganun. Pero ang pinaka-difference niya is mas overt yung text. Mas siya, yung movie mas mas undertone.
Galing.
Mas may vampire lore, di ba? Yung story.
Mas gusto ko yung movie, by the way.
Interesting.
Rare mas maganda yung movie kaysa sa book, pero ako mas gusto ko yung movie.
Bakit?
Ang galing siguro katulad nung yung favorite scene mo kanina, yung sa pool, 'di ba? Yung sa yung kumbaga kung feeling ko kapag normal Hollywood vampire movie ito yung parang blood, guts, nakita-kita. Ito, yung pagkakagamit kasi niya dun sa pool scene na yun, parang forced perspective siya, di ba yung si Oscar pagkalubog ng ulo niya, tapos yung shot nasa kanya lang habang nasa ilalim siya ng pool, tapos biglang may ulo, biglang may blood, meron pang paa na gumanon na may paanggol, so binifad ba si Ellie? So yung scene na yun, parang buong movie siya yung parang madami siyang empty spaces that you have to fill in yourself. Parang gano'n. I think mas powerful, mas naging powerful siya dahil doon. Dahil sa decision ng movie na gawin yun.
That's true, no? Because I feel like kung Hollywood movie yan, may soundtrack, tapos, di ba, yung patayan scene, tapos, may mga cool choreography na gano'n. This one was very horrifying. Magaling.
So this was remade in Hollywood as Let Me In. Have you guys seen it? Kayong tatlo? Have you seen it?
Hindi.
No one's seen it?
No, because I was very happy with the Swedish one.
Yeah. Well, okay. First of all, it's not even close. Obviously. I mean, like, masterpiece tong Let the Right One In. But yung Let Me In, I'm telling you, it's one of the better adaptations, Hollywood adaptations.
Okay.
Kasi your expectation niya exactly, I don't know, parang Hollywood, fucking, and like, biglang, I don't know, Creed is playing in the background, and like, may slow-mo, and like, 60 frames yung away, and like, Yeah, so it's not like that. It's really good actually.
Grabe yung
Yeah.
Creed.
I don't know. At the time, because it was
ng Creed.
2010 or something, you remake. I don't know, whatever. Evanescence ba? Whatever, whatever is during the time, no. Pero not bad yung movie. It's really not bad. It's yung problem lang, biggest problem obviously is yung hurdle is when you get someone really famous like Chloe Moretz, no.
It was
Yes,
Chloe
so it's her.
Moretz.
When it's someone like that, yeah, that's my biggest problem with it. Number one, again, I really like the movie, yung remake. Number two, it's nothing, not comparable to Let the Right One In at all.
Right.
Pero sobrang it throws you off. Pag it's like someone so recognizable, and then like see Chloe Moretz is like, she's has a very pretty face.
Yes.
And that's also immediately what ruined new remake of Carrie for me.
Yes. Same.
Because she did Carrie, and she was Carrie, and then biglang you're like immediately you're like, wala, I'm out of it na. Hindi ko naman, I can't put it together na. Like I'm out of your movie already. Kasi you don't have the face for it. Parang that was the biggest flaw talaga for me. But
That's
I'm
Hindi siya mukhang binubuli.
Uy, exactly.
Ang ganda niya eh.
Uy. Totally missed the point. Pero yung director nun is si Matt Reeves, the director of The Batman. So nag-full circle na tayo because I said that at the beginning. si Direct Prime saw The Batman. This is your first movie in a while. So that's the Batman connection with Let the Right One In.
I see.
He did the remake called Let Me In.
Let Me In.
Yeah.
But can you
not
tell
bad,
us
it's
a little
not
bit
bad.
of the differences with the Hollywood version? Because I'm not gonna watch
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in a while. Honestly, a lot of it is hindi siya shot for shot remake, but it's very close. It's very close. Yeah, it does not stray too far. Again, biggest problem is Chloe Moretz, who is not a bad actress, but the second na nandyan siya, like you're out of the movie na. It's like you can wala na yung believability factor. It's like, artista to eh. You know what I mean? Like, watching this is like, you know what I mean?
Siguro it helped na the Swedish one, parang they're unknown to us eh. Parang, and obviously, parang hindi Hollywood yung gloss or yung looks. So it came off as just a really small town story of like these
Beautiful story.
anonymous kids finding a lot about themselves because they're vampires and
Through murder.
Through murder. Yeah.
And the casting was very like average white people.
Euro kids.
Diba?
Yeah.
Normal. You see these kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wherever you go.
Hindi to lalaking pogi. Wow, grabe sama. Dala. Pero gets.
Yeah.
So, direct, may question ako. So, and related to your movie like Sleepless, parang mahilig ka ba sa mga themes na gano'n talaga, like people finding each other? And
that's why that was so funny about your choice to direct for because like Manananggal is basically a romance horror. Well, may touches of romance, may touches of horror, just like Let the Right One In. So akala ko that was really what that's parang yun yung reason for your choice. Na parang, this is your thing.
Even Sleepless, parang may emotional coming of age.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put words into your mouth. Feel free to say mali ka.
Siguro kahit yung past work ko, kahit hindi siya talaga. Kasi pag horror, I think yung main emotion na pinipiga mo is parang terror, diba? Parang dread, parang something na inevitable na may mangyayari sa'yo na wala. So yung sa mga movies na ginagawa ko, kahit hindi sila talaga technically horror, parang tinatry ko silang lagyan ng mood na parang may not to use big words, pero parang for me parang may potential dread, parang may horror, may something na dark na bahay kahit walang supernatural, someone out to get you, mag-isa ka ba, yung ganung mood, parang tinatry ko sa so siguro may 3%? Parang may 3% horror. Nangihiram
3% horror.
Nangihiram ako ng maraming techniques from horror.
Sure.
Kahit friendship story, gano'n.
Do you think you'll be
Ganda.
directing more horror-related films?
More
in the
3% horror related.
Oh, I would love to do something like the like the movie Let the Right One In. Sobrang
Cool.
na mas naka-push siya towards horror. Actually,
Sure.
the pandemic and baka yung mood natin magbago depende sa election, di ba? So,
Yep.
Wow.
tayo sa dark.
The true horror story. Real life.
Dark side of humanity.
Correct. Oh my God.
So I know, Reg, I know that you're not a super duper horror fan, pero like of recent years, may standouts ba for you na horror movies?
Okay. So, super nagustuhan ko yung The Witch.
Yeah.
The Witch. Yung pinag-usapan natin yung coming, I think coming age horror din siya. Diba? Lalo na yung last shot, yung sobrang grabe yun, yung naglalakad siya tapos nakita niya yung mga witches.
Yep.
Lumipad siya.
Yeah.
Tsaka sa yung mga works din ni Ari Aster. Sobrang fan din ako yung, kasi parang ang thing ko with Ari Aster is yung ending niya, parang you're supposed to feel bad pero parang pinapalabas niya na maganda yung nangyayari tapos yung scoring niya maganda. Alam mo ba? Ganda sa yung latest niya? Yung
My favorite? Hindi.
Midsommar.
Yung sa Midsommar, di ba yung ending parang yung nasusunog na yung bahay tapos mukha nung girl, parang ngumiti siya eh. Parang pati sa Hereditary yung naging siya
Yan
na
din yung face ni Aaron while she was watching the movie.
Favorite.
Pati sa Hereditary yung umakit na doon siya sa treehouse, tapos siya na tapos yung music parang may revelation, parang biblical something.
Basta twist niya what is supposed to be sad. Or like yari in a normal framing, parang sad ending, parang pero twist niya dahil parang redemption for the or parang release parang may catharsis for the main character. Parang
Yung word, I think that's the word, catharsis.
Parang,
may very unsettling catharsis.
Yeah. Galing nga yung Midsommar, Aaron. Maganda nga.
Galing.
Ayaw kasi ni Aaron.
No, pero okay. Ganito na
Two-year
lang.
running joke na to.
Yeah, diba? That's the running joke talaga. It's
Every
not a
time somebody says Midsommar, we all just look at Aaron.
I know. So
Anyway, sorry.
hindi ko siya nagustuhan. But I like Hereditary. So that's 1 out of 2. So
Yes.
hihintayin ko yung susunod niyang movie. Let's see. Kasi 1 out of 2 eh. Okay na yun. Okay na yun.
Baka type mo pala movies in general.
Yes.
Talaga.
Diba? We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. So hindi ko alam.
Great.
Yeah.
Yung Relic. Maganda rin yung Relic.
Super good yung relic.
Sabi nga ni
Hanapin.
Chris.
My
Hanapin
God.
ko yung relic na yan. Parang nakakatakot yun.
So,
Three
siya sa
generations of
growing
women.
old.
So super. Yeah. Growing old. Amazing.
Okay, alam nyo lahat yun? Ako hindi ko to alam. Relic.
Ako rin, hindi
Yeah,
ko
last
rin
year,
alam.
2 years ago lang.
2020.
Ano yung repos nyo? Baka may mga records kayo dyan.
Parang haunted house tong Relic ah. Ayoko.
Favorite ko of last year, The Night House. Ano rin yan? Feeling ko trip
The
na yan.
Night House?
Yeah. Feeling ko trip na yan. I think that's your thing.
Sige.
Ako, favorite ko pa rin, and I talk about it in every episode, is this new subgenre. Yung parang I don't know if you've seen The Host, Prime. Nakita mo ba yung The Host? Pero yung, hindi yung Korean yung over Zoom.
Yung parang Zoom call.
Over Zoom.
Parang siya, pandemic movie siya.
Pandemic movie.
Oh.
But I've heard of it. Maganda nga daw yan.
So yan
Super
yung
ganda.
genre na gusto ko ngayon because yun yung genre na feeling ko, shit, mangyayari to sa akin. Kasi yung The Witch, hindi yan mangyayari sa akin. Hereditary, hindi yan mangyayari sa akin. No way. Pero yung The Host, or Unfriended, yung mga ganyan, tapos makikita mo yung mga Facebook chats.
Unfriended.
Doon ako
Nag-unfriended too ka na, Aaron, diba?
Yes.
That was good.
Yes.
Parang
Good.
tech-related horror, Allen. Parang tech-related horror yung...
Because I'm on my screen 24/7, so talagang hindi
Yeah.
mangyayari sa akin.
Pero actually sa genre na yan eh. Screen life yata in terms of genre na yan.
Yeah, there's a good John Cho ba yan? Movie thriller na Sobrang ganda.
Searching.
Searching. Oh, amazing.
Ganda nun.
Searching.
Hindi siya horror, but like
Thriller?
galing.
Parang thriller.
Thriller. Yeah, so
That was
good.
really good. But I was
So
going to ask Prime, ano yung mga fears mo? So what are you
Oh.
actually scared of?
Like in real life.
Oo. Kasi ako, like I mentioned, yung mga horror movies na ganyan, tech stuff, I'm afraid of that kasi pwede siyang mangyari. So, are there any fears that you have? Ito si Miguel, takot sa mumu.
Yeah. So,
Ito si Miguel, takot sa lahat.
Oh, medyo marami. Daga, multo.
Ipis.
Pero ipis I'm fine. Actually, okay pala ako sa torture, diba? So, parang
Torture porn.
ano yung horror na kaya ko pala?
Yes.
Yung mga
Torture porn.
Torture porn horror. Walang kaso. Pero pag multo yan. Wala. Pag haunted house. Wala.
So Asian horror. Horror.
The worst for me yan. The worst yan. Kasi supernatural na nga. Tapos may cultural aspect pa na malapit sa atin. Talagang hindi ko kaya. Yep.
Asian
Anyway.
horror movies, ako rin because kamukha ako sila.
Ayan, nasisada ko.
Diba?
Nakakatakot talaga yung Asian woman. Diba?
Oh, yeah.
Tinasa.
Yep.
May something talaga na hindi ko ma-place eh.
That's me.
Kahit in real life, dalawa lang. Dalawa lang. But yes.
Who hurt you, Miguel?
No. Asian women. Just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah. So Prime, are you working on anything now that you can share with us?
Na lalabas in a month.
Oh
in a month or so, yan.
May film ako na I think lalabas. Hindi ko sure kung itutuloy yung release this year with Paolo tsaka kay Janine.
Oh.
Nice.
Pero hindi siya horror. So medyo drama, romance.
Mhm.
Yan. You like that din naman eh. Kitang-kita
Kahit
sa
3%,
choice.
directly, walang 3%.
With 3%, pero yung mga next, doon na tayo sa mas dark. Feeling ko mas may na rin eh, sa streaming ngayon. Feeling ko mas may chance. Ang hirap na lumaban sa K-dramas. Sa mga hawak na nila yung... I think mas may chance tayo sa mas ganitong klaseng material. I think...
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited for that kasi according to our possible future president, sabi niya gusto niyang gayahin yung Korean system of funding the arts para yun yung export natin. They want to follow the...
Wait, is this the president we like or...
We like her.
Okay,
The other one would think of this. Hindi niya maiisip to, guys.
Hindi ako sure eh. I mean...
Maiisip niya yan. Ano ba yan?
Sorry. Just being clear.
Kinabahan din ako eh.
Okay. Para kayo na ba si Aaron? Vibe check muna. Hello.
Pero yun, she's planning to fund the arts. So I'm very excited for that kung magkatotoo.
Wait, if we were winding down, can they say something about Sleepless?
Okay.
Direct, I actually saw this movie in the cinema and I super loved it. I didn't want to say
for watching it.
I didn't want to begin the podcast kasi parang weird eh. And I'm gonna say a few things about Sleepless. Una, it's Gaiza and Dominic Rocco, who at that time, the mid-2010s, sila talaga yung... Until now, I love them as actors. Parang they came out in Quark's film, they came out in Marie's film. Parang I love them as actors. And it's a story about two people finding themselves in a call center. Di ba yun yung premise nun? Yung not to make this about me, but the only short film I ever made was about two people found themselves in a call center din eh. So when I saw Sleep, I said, oh my God, if I could make a movie, ito yung feature-length movie ko sana, pero ginawa na ni sino to? Si Prime! nagawa na. Pero I'm happy. Sobrang nag-stalk ako yung movie yun, direct.
Hey,
I need to see it.
Wait, bigay ko sa inyo yung Vimeo link ng film ko.
Oh my God!
Sa chat natin. Ano ba naman?
Ito yung version of here's my band demo.
Ito yung film ko na baka na-influence yung Sleepers. Dalawa lang. Feeling.
Oh my God, he really put it. Sige.
It's just for us, guys.
It's super cute. It's super cute.
It's just for us.
So
When you made it,
ladies,
Miguel, this was like 2004?
2008. So we're old. 2008.
Fuck.
So this movie's like 15 years old. Like, it's a teenager now.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see this, we will be putting this
We
in
will be putting
the
this
description
link in the
of this
description.
episode.
Why don't we put a link to Prime's films?
We'll do that
We
as
will.
well.
Yeah. But we'll
Sige.
lead with yours.
Yes.
Sige, I'm kilig.
This
I'm
link
kidding.
was
Fine.
so eagerly shared with us. And we must do this for our listeners as well.
Hindi pa-delete tong
Anong
moment na to.
paki-delete? Ito na yung ad for the episode.
Yes, this is it. So please check the
Nakakainis.
description for the
Guys,
Vimeo link of Miguel, who
Ay, nako.
sinapawan yung guest natin. Sinapawan yung guest
First of
namin.
all, patapos na tayo, I just wanted to open up and show you a piece of my heart to direct. Linako niya na ako.
Sapaw.
Ang kapal ng mukha.
Gusto natin yan, yung mga
Sorry,
sharing
direct.
pieces of our
Pag may,
hearts.
pag may oras ka lang.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Anyway,
ay, nako.
nawala na po lahat ng pride at dignidad and so ganito na lang, we will all give our last thoughts on Let the Right One In
Let's do it.
para makalimutan.
We can recover. Yeah, and we can edit this whole portion out. Yeah.
Ayan. So I'll go
Okay.
first.
Go ahead.
Yes. I really like this movie, and honestly, watching it, I mean, the way I watch movies, diba, wala lang, I'll just watch it. Hindi ko nakuha yung mga pedophile undertones. So now that I know this, I probably will watch it again because it was actually a movie that was very entertaining for me. So thank you, Prime, for choosing it.
I'll go
That's
next. So direct Prime. So like my movie Training, just kidding.
Oh my God!
Wala. So seryoso na. I super love Let the Right One In, and it stayed with me for many years after watching it because this is a weird description of it. It's a sweet coming of age film that's just really dark, and there's a lot of blood and murder, and it's not even a traditional horror film that goes out of its way to scare you. It's really minimalist. It's very, I guess, Swedish and minimalist, and parang pero ang ganda ng craft and pagkagawa, and para all these little implications that apparently until now we're still unraveling and revealing, and it's a movie that continues to reveal itself to you upon multiple viewings. So that's what I really love about it. Coming of age bus, so it's great.
Hey.
I'll go next. Derek can go last. I super love this movie. When I was younger, kasi I really got into horror, like the slasher type horror. When I was in like my late teens, yan talaga yung foundation ko. And then it kind of petered off, start mga early 2000s. In 2008, this is when it came out. A bunch of horror films came in, super ganda. And this is at the time of my life where I hated my life because I was working in advertising. So yung ginagawa ko, honestly, I would just download shit at the office and I would just watch. I mean, I'm so irresponsible, but I was a young kid at the time, and I hated my job, and I would just watch fucking horror movies every time. And so, Let the Right One In and a bunch of other stuff that came out around 2008 that really brought me back into horror, and then I never stopped since then. So yeah, I'm so glad you chose this film, Rekti. Thank you.
Yay! So Direk, last but not least, any last words?
Let the Right One In. Ganda. Pangalan niyo yan, guys. Ganda yan.
But may question ako, Derek, ganda ba siya ng Training?
Nakakainis. Hindi pa niya napapanood. Hindi pa niya napapanood. Short film lang siya, guys.
Okay.
Pag napanood ko, i-reco ko na siya.
Parang yung gusto kong gawin, yung panoorin natin lahat. Tapos alam mo yung mga reviews pagkatapos lumabas ng sinehan, mga grabe, ang ganda-ganda talaga ng Training.
I hate you guys. I hate you all.
So listeners, everyone listening to us, thank you so much for spending your time with us. Again, please check the description of this episode to see any affiliate links, to see the Vimeo link of one of our hosts' movies, pati na rin yung Vimeo link ni Prime kung meron siyang Vimeo link. We'll put it in there. We'll see. We'll get those details later. So thanks everyone, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you, Direk.
Thank you, Direk.
Bye.
Sarto, pero,
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.